Ari Emanuel is a true business and entertainment renaissance man. I just don't think there's anyone else like him in the world. He was able to transition from having a really hard time as a kid growing up dyslexic.
I was in special ed. There can't be more embarrassing than that. So anything now, I don't give a shit. You can't embarrass me.
To getting activated in the mailroom at CAA, all the way to being one of the greatest agents, the inspiration for Ari Gold on Entourage, to becoming a successful entrepreneur, owning and running sports leagues like the UFC and the WWE, many, many more that we get into in this conversation.
You got to over-communicate. If they're not getting back to you, you got to keep on calling them. What are you doing? That's the job.
His simple thesis that live is the antidote to AI risk, that AI and technology can never disrupt live and actually makes it way more valuable.
I'm having my dinner with Elon and we're talking about AI. He said this to me, he goes, live cannot be disrupted. I said, okay. I have 2 ears.
This is one, if you're listening right now, I would encourage you to stop and watch. This is someone that you can feel their physical presence in a distinctive way.
But who the fuck wants to be normal? Normal sucks, right?
Both he directly and everyone that works with him all day long is just moving through stuff with a velocity and a pace and an urgency that is rare or singular. So I hope you enjoyed this awesome conversation with Ari Emanuel. We're going to UFC tomorrow night.
Yes.
I've never seen it and I've never been to an event, but it has captured everyone's imagination. It's this amazing business. I think you bought it in 2016. Can you just explain the magic of this business?
When I started, I represented the WWE.
Yeah.
And I represented the UFC. And when I signed the UFC, it was on Spike. We had a whole division inside the company looking at ratings. And all of a sudden they came in and they showed me, here's this thing on Spike and here's the numbers. And then I realized, wow, this thing's ratings are starting to move. So I figured out, it's Dana White and the Fertittas. And I represented the WWE and they're close enough. And, so I called them.
Called Dana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually I got a meeting and I completely screwed up the meeting. I was talking about the WWE, it was just bad.
Yeah.
It was one of my worst signing meetings. And I just kept at it because I knew based on their ratings and what they were getting as a license fee, a domestic license fee, it wasn't enough money. And I knew if I got my hands on it, I could do some stuff with it just as a representative. And so eventually, after doing a couple of things, he signed with me. The organization signed with me. And they were making $15 million a year from Spike. And I think the first deal I made at Spike was, I increased it to 75, something like that. And we made a video game deal, which they had never had. After 20 years, we moved it to Fox for $150 million.
Good growth rate so far.
Yeah, we've done well. And then my life changed because Silver Lake came into my life. We started buying companies. We bought IMG. And we had started building an infrastructure because of IMG. They had sports and events, an infrastructure to whether it be licensing, distribution, production, a lot of things that companies needed on a global basis, not just a domestic basis. And then the Fertittas decided they wanted to sell. And a little before that, we had bought PBR, the professional bull riding, had started turning that thing around. Silver Lake, Egon, my partner Egon Durbin, realized, we do more negotiations on the domestic side, broadcasting for TV shows and movies than kind of almost anybody else. You could handle, and we'd already done it for other people. You could handle a sports if you owned it. And I concluded where the world was going, I was kind of talking about it's going to go to streaming. Sports is going to be important. It was on cable. It's going to move there because they're going to, for AVOD and everything. So we buy it. Now, at the time when we bought IMG, the closest bidder, I think, was churning at $1.9 billion. We paid $2.4. Everybody thought it was the highest price ever paid. When we bought UFC, on the current trajectory, it was 20 times. If I made the proper domestic deal, I could take the leverage down. And I thought, I just did the math. Here's how much they need it because of here's how much programming, and then here's how, because remember at the time, Fox owned these RSNs, the regional players, and they had just the spokes off the library. When I said they have to pay, Here's a normal increase. Not like the rest of your people that sit in this chair when you ask them how they do their analysis. Cut to, we buy it. People think we're crazy. And then the world blows up. Rupert decides to sell to Disney. Those two people are not bidding. Comcast didn't want it. Warner's didn't want it. And Paramount had not decided what they were going to be.
Right.
So now I'm looking at myself. Can we swear on this? Of
course.
Yeah. We're fucked. Right? I mean, I got no bidders.
Yeah.
And my contract's coming up in a year. So we go back to Fox, sans what they were going to have remaining, and say, you should buy this. Lachlan didn't want to do it for his point of view. I think it was like 3 or 4 months into our deal coming off Fox, ESPN fires John Skipper, who was always shining me on that he wanted it. He never wanted it. Bob Iger and Kevin Mayer say we want it because we're going to go direct on ESPN. And we make a deal. You're coming on Saturday to the pay-per-views, which we have stopped now since we're going to Paramount. And we have these kind of just normal fights every weekend, our fight nights. So I did my job. It was emotionally trying, but we got it done. And what then happened, which was incredible, was, and horrible all at once, COVID happens.
Right.
World shuts down.
You went to the Mideast, right?
Dana goes, we're putting the fights on. I said, I got your back. He goes, get me an island. I call my partners in the Middle East in Abu Dhabi and Khaldoon, who owns Man City. And I said, we need an island. And we need planes and we need testing. Everything. And because there's not going to be no artists, we need this. And he says yes. And so we bring fighters in from Europe. We bring fighters in from the United States. We test. Everybody's isolated for 2 weeks. And we spent like 2 months, I think, maybe 3 months there.
And no one else is doing anything.
No sports on.
Yeah.
And it blows up.
How much of an inflection was that in audience size?
I mean, our pay-per-views were getting like 1 million views. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
Because there was no sports on. Zero. I don't know if you remember that period. It was like nothing.
Yeah, there's literally nothing.
And the two sports that we were the first two up, the UFC and PBR. And we had a whole document on our testing. We did it was crazy.
If I boil down your whole life, is it make shit happen over and over and over and over relentlessly?
It's kind of relentlessly not taking no. Yeah. But I think that's most successful people.
How are you so good at that? You have a very distinctive style of being extremely good at that. How did that develop?
Well, when you have two older brothers that are really good at their job and a father that just push you.
Yeah.
And there's many good things to dyslexia. And any parent that has a dyslexic child, I will tell you, it does get better if you hang in there. I don't get embarrassed easily. I'm not somebody saying no, who cares? I just keep on trying to open more doors. And so those elements in my life, my mom, my brothers, competition, I'm competitive with myself. Yeah. Very.
What's that feel like?
Horrible. It's exhausting. But it's gotten better over,
But what is it like internally? Are you literally waking up yelling at yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Every day?
Yeah. I mean, there's that voice kind of ticking off all the things you got to do and playing the chess match. And I mean, one of the things that Jeff Bezos said to me, it was so good. It really did help me. He said, you have to, at your age, Ari, now, know when you're on the field and know when you're off the field. The problem in the past, it was helpful to a point, but you can't get really successful. I was always on the field. Always.
Defined as what?
Meaning I was always playing chess in any conversation.
Yeah.
Thinking of the angle, working the situation. And sometimes, it should just be...
Just chill out.
Chill the fuck out, right? And I never realized that, and he many things helped me, but that little conversation was he's actually right. And it actually makes when you're on the field better. And I wasn't mature enough to realize that until somebody slapped me in the face.
And being off the field for you means what?
Well, I'm like in any conversation,
You're not calculating.
I'm not calculating out
Yeah.
all the different things. It can just be a good conversation. I'm curious, so I read a ton. I read a ton of articles. I tell my office I want to talk to that person. I want to talk to that person. You know, I'm on the field a lot.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes like, chill the fuck out. You know, you don't have to be on the field.
What about wrestling? How good were you at wrestling? What made you
pretty
good?
good.
What was your style? What did it teach you?
You know what it does do, wrestling? And I think like MMA, and when you're in high school and you have to go from my size now to 132 pounds, easier when you're younger, and you have to starve yourself, plus work out and go to school. And the mental fortitude of that just keeps on going in your life, that you can handle that emotional pain. And that's also in business. You know, when we talk about like, I can handle a lot of emotional pain. And I think one of the hardest things now for kids, which I hope I teach my kids, is that emotional endurance that you need in life right now is even more, you know, it's more challenging. I think business, just because business is no longer binary. It's multi-layered. You have to realize sometimes you have to have a relationship with somebody, even though there's things in that relationship you don't like, right? And I don't think that was in the past in business. You had to think through all those things. So, and it's just emotionally draining right now because there's so many things going on. So,
What was the most extreme emotional pain you ever felt in business?
this situation with
The contract thing.
with the UFC.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I put all the chips in the middle, $4.2 billion in the middle. Clients were investing. My biggest investor is investing. I had done the calculation, like I didn't see that Rupert was going to sell, and we're coming to the end. Contract's 4 months away. Because of that, my thyroid went on the fritz. There was so much pressure. I'd never had that physical, actually. I went down to 142 pounds.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Dana talks about this, like gray hair and emaciated, sweating. I mean, it was horrible. Yeah. And finally I went to the doctor and he goes, you know, your thyroid's
fucked.
going at a rate. And so that was hard. But once it got done, everything came back and kind of calmed down. No longer was on the field all the time.
What does the power dynamic feel like today around content, those that own it, and the places that it could be distributed versus the past of that same power structure?
You know,
how it's evolved?
In the past, they couldn't own, the owners of distribution couldn't own the whole
right
thing. Now with cable gone and broadcast, not gone, but in decline. We just talked about, is it going to be Warner Brothers with Netflix, or is it going to be Paramount? You know, there's not a lot of supply chain. These guys are doing it, and they're doing it within each other's boundaries. Sony's one of the suppliers. There's some. Before there was a lot. You know, even before when I was in the business, you had tax incentives for production. There's a company called Witt Thomas, and all these independents used to supply. They used to get tax benefits and supply great programming, and it was unbelievable. And you had syndication, and that's how at the beginning of my career we made all this money. You know, television was a great business. You put a show on. If you're an independent, you'd own the show. Like Carsey Warner, Tom Warner, who owns the Boston Red Sox, and I think he still owns Liverpool, and he owns some foreign team. You'd put the 70s show on, or the Cosby show on, or Roseanne, or you do 150 episodes. You sell it to a station group for $5 million an episode, 150. You can do the math.
Yeah, I can.
And then you do a second window into cable, and then a third window happened when Netflix came around. And then you do that multiple after they've run its course. The second window of syndication,
Yep.
The third window of syndication, the fourth window. Now it's really just, which we just did for The Office, and you can do for The Simpsons, and you can do for Family Guy and Curb and Seinfeld. They're paying a lot of money. Yeah. You're doing it for The Office, you're doing it at Comcast. Yeah. That's the window. It's $500 million for the new window. It's a very good deal. But then, I think about 3 years ago, the Writers Guild took away our packages. But it used to be you had all these independents supplying all the content. Now, it's the majors supplying the majors. And so, it's a lot different. And I do think that has not been beneficial. I do think what's going to happen now, though, AI is definitely going to reduce costs. So I had a client who's a writer-director. I'm not going to say who. He's got to do an outline for a project. He gave, I think, Grok or Perplexity an incredible prompt based on a piece of IP. The outline for the project.
Pretty close.
No. Now, remember, AI, as people say, is the greatest average, which it is.
Yeah.
He said it was unbelievable. Now he's going to have to do work on it and do it. But that would have taken months. Months.
Yeah. Is your take on AI that it basically supercharges the very best people disproportionately?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not in other businesses, but I mean, my son works at Apple. I mean, I think programmers are feeling that, I think they're feeling that in probably finance. And
When you saw Sora too, what'd you think?
oh, I wanted to sue him, because he stole a bunch of stuff. He put the UFC up there. They put the WWE, they put bull riding and really bad stuff. What it's going to do, whether it be Sora, Grok, it's just going to make production costs, filming, DPs, costume design. I mean, it's just, and then you're going to be able to either bring Betty Davis back or Elizabeth Taylor. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see, in a good way, like in the music business, you can do an album in your bed. Yeah. I think the same thing's true
Do a movie in
the movie business. I don't know where it's going. But it's going to be cheaper, and there's going to be a lot of it. And I think it's not going to be the walls around creating content for the first time because of the cost, because it used to cost 100. Yeah. It's no longer going to be that. And so that's going to come down.
In a world where the marginal cost of content creation is like getting close to zero, where does the value accrue?
If we have 4 great bidders, and maybe with 6 Wi-Fi, maybe everybody with their social platforms is a distributor, right? Through social. Let's just say we're right. The marginal cost becomes 0. And you're Dwayne Johnson. And you have, I don't know how many people he has on social, but it's a lot, hundreds. Or Kim Kardashian, or you name it, Mark Wall, or you name the person. Are you not
a distributor?
A distributor.
Yeah.
Those are the questions that are going to arise pretty soon.
Yeah.
I say to people at William Morris, for the first time, taste matters. A lot.
Say a little bit more about that.
I don't know about you, but I get called all the time, oh, this is a great script. Shut the fuck up. Knowing what is good and what is commercial and what sells. Yeah. Now, I'm not always right. I'm probably batting 300. I'm in the Hall of Fame, right? So 60% of the time, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
But people with taste that know this business, that know kind of what an audience, a mass audience likes, is hard. And so if you have taste and you're seeing a lot of programming, you can say, there's talent there. That actually has value. So you put it on your Dwayne Johnson. Let's just take it out to its, let's just say my conclusion's right.
Yeah.
And you take it out to its farthest limit where Dwayne Johnson has a development team and they're looking for stuff and they're picking it and they're putting on their service, right? For Dwayne, and Dwayne's paying that person, I don't know if they're paying him $1 million or $10,000 because the thing costs nothing. Yeah. There's a value proposition there. And you're getting a sponsor, you're getting subs. I don't know. That in some capacity, that's going to happen. Brands are going to be really important. Old IP is going to be really important. I think the value of sports is going to be even more valuable.
What about the content side of this?
What content side?
The use of IP.
Yeah. That's going to be huge business. I do believe it's David Ellison's bet, right? That there's going to be more need for content than there's ever been. And there's going to be more consumption. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be cheaper.
What about the use of content by labs where maybe they shouldn't have used it to train models, for example?
Oh, yeah, they should all get sued.
You think how do you think that'll play out?
Well, we sent a bad letter to Sam, like stop using the UFC and the WWE, and so they're going to have to pay. Yeah, I think, unless the Supreme Court says something. I mean, I don't know how you don't pay for when Larry David creates Curb and Seinfeld. and you're taking it to train your model, and you're going to make a lot of zeros. You don't think Larry David deserves to get paid? I think that's crazy.
Let's talk about IRL stuff in this context. Obviously, you've created a portfolio of some of the marquee live events, and I know you believe very deeply in this. Is there a way to think about this almost like the anti-AI bet or the AI-proof bet?
AI is going to be
big,
which I think is a proper conclusion.
Lots of R.
Yeah, there's a really lot of smart people spending a lot of money at it, and they're smarter than me. Okay. Netherlands just said 4-day work weeks. Drive times now are 11 to 4 across America. Hotel bookings, Thursdays, way up. And there's a lot of more data points to this. So the weekend starts Thursday now, and we're, 2025, maybe 2027, they start Wednesday. So we're social animals. You're coming to a UFC fight. You're a social guy. What are you going to do? You're going to watch a lot of content. David Ellison's conclusion. You're going to watch a lot of content, right? There's going to be more content than ever. Cost zero. On his service, on 4 big services. You're going to be going to concerts, going to stand-up, going to live events, sports, or my live events that I've just bought. And so the value of that is just because there's only so much. And yeah, people are creating new ones, but so that's my whole bet.
Simple.
I don't know how to write an algorithm for AI. I don't know how to build a data center. I'm not in the chip business. I just know how to create really great live events, monetize them, have a great user experience. And it's the opposite bet, because data centers aren't the opposite bet. Live is the opposite bet.
What makes a great live event? What are the ingredients?
Well, there has to be a specific audience. So in art, there's a very specific audience, right? There's a culture around art. It's global. There's really good conversation about it. Cars, antique cars, another one of my businesses.
Very specific.
Very specific. Sports, UFC, bull riding, WWE, very specific, right? Taste, food festivals. So I'm in the areas that I know there's great cultural stickiness.
Affinity.
It's global.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we know, why did we do Freeze? It was only in 2 places. It was in UK and New York. We knew there were art festivals all over the place, run poorly. We knew we could take it globally. We could spread the sponsorship. We could determine that city needs them, and they would pay us to bring events. So we'd get site fees, right? So, hey, bring Freeze, great brand, knows how to do this properly. Well, the food around it, all the lectures, et cetera. We're going to pay you to come here for 10 years to put on the event. We just closed that deal in Abu Dhabi. And so when you start doing those things properly, in our Madrid Open, which is our tennis tournament, it's one of the 9 1000s. We're going to build another stadium to build another food festival. We're going to do concerts after the tennis tournament. We just know how to do it. And so when we look at these things, we look at them in a way that, what are they missing? Because we're one of the only companies on a global basis that do live events. Sometimes you have companies that do great live events, but they're local. They're guys that are in Arizona. They're guys that are in just the UK. When they come into our organization, we're in 32 companies. We know, something, there's an affinity here.
You said 2 other things, monetization and user experience. I'm going to save monetization because I have a specific question about it.
Okay.
What is great user experience?
So when they go around, there's food, there's lectures, there's surrounding events that make the event itself and inside the event really special. And it's a great way. I can't stress enough the need for people to get community, because we're all sitting, staring. I remember one of the things that made me think about this also, about why live events were so important, in sports were so important. Tiger talked about at one point, I saw a documentary, I think it was on when he first won, people were clapping. Second time, phones were up and people were screaming, right? And that's because that thing, you want to show how great your life is, right? And that also thing detaches you, and you want a place where you can have with other people a great experience.
Yeah.
And that just bodes well for music, live sports, live events.
Yeah, and you're selling status to some degree. Like you're selling the video they're taking.
This is status.
Yeah. Monetization is the one that intrigues me the most based on a conversation you and I have had before, which is we're still figuring out the demand curve inside of one of these events.
You know, we bought this company On Location. Do you know about that?
A little bit, but remind me.
So On Location, Jerry Cardinale first owned it with the NFL, and they were doing the premium hospitality for the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And we thought, wow, that's incredible because people are asking for premiums now, and rich people are asking for more and more because they can get everything, so they want even specialer. And that there was a tiered market, not in a bad way. You know, some people, I'm going to pay $100, and some people I'm going to pay $300. And then some people are going to pay crazy. So in the Super Bowl, go to Tiffany's and get a blue football and have 10 people with you and get a lecture from Peyton Manning and walk on the field pregame and come out with the team and be on the stage for weigh-ins at the UFC and sit at the table with Dana White. And for that, I'm going to pay $50,000 a ticket, or I'm going to pay $300,000 for the Super Bowl, or XYZ for the Olympics. It's crazy.
And you still haven't found the...
Oh, no. We're adding. So the Olympics, FIFA, UFC, WWE, in every category, there's premiums, and people pay crazy.
How much of it do you think is them paying for the video that they get on that versus the actual experience?
But I think it has
pretty high.
Yeah, pretty high. But I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like you work your ass off.
Yeah.
You love this thing.
Yeah.
Whether it be music, events, sports. I want a different experience in my life. Yes, for that, but just life.
Yeah.
And I think COVID made that happen too. Yeah. And people are doing it. Where it ends, I don't know, but it is a huge premium business.
How far can you push this? Like, it feels like you've collected lots of the marquee assets and things that you love. Like, what's the runway feel like to you?
So here's one thing that we're doing in the live events business that I started.
This is Freeze, and this is
it's called Mari. This is
Mari.
Freeze, Barrett Jackson, our tennis tournaments, our participatory sports like Escape from Alcatraz and Melbourne Marathon, and our taste festivals, Winter Wonderland, that business. Yeah. So we bought a ticketing business inside that. This thing called Today Ticks. The ticketing business almost all they do is theater business. And when COVID happened, unlike other ticketing business, which had to keep on operating, they shut the whole thing down and rewrote the operating system. And it's incredible. We'll create a destination with an incredible ticketing asset. Where I think it's going is hopefully we create a platform that has events, because we operate events pretty well, plus a destination, you white label ticketing. Then we can create a sponsorship layer, site fee layer, and maybe white label some stuff and go from there. So that's the dream, that's the wish.
What is the most surprising thing about the landscape of sports and live events to you?
Well, when you think about sports, so you have the beast of all beasts, NFL, NBA, global, baseball, hockey, English Premier League, Spanish League, French. You just go, they're all owned by federations, and there's very few independent and very few people that know how to run them. When we were buying the UFC, and we were having this argument internally, Egon would say, well, the best people that can pay the most are the broadcast. Well, they would ruin the sport. I mean, there's so many things that happen to run one of these things. You have to make really hard decisions, and right. So there's a limited amount that is available to buy. Yeah. In the wrong hands, the ones that are independent. I mean, unless Adam Silver's there, unless Roger Goodell's there, those things don't run the way they're supposed to. I mean, those things are hard. Yeah. And the same thing with our sport. We're about to start our boxing business.
So if you approach boxing,
well, we've announced the boxing league with Paramount, and we do the big kind of like huge super events.
As you approach that opportunity, tell me the story of how you build it. Like, I know you're really excited about boxing.
No. So Don King screws over Ali. The Ali gets passed. It changes the sport. Now, first of all, to create a league in a combat sport, the only person that could have ever done it is Dana White, ever. So he did it at the UFC. And the only person that could have done it, and it's sports entertainment, is Vince McMahon, right? It's incredible.
Yeah, those two guys.
So we now look at that. The Ali Act's going to exist. We're going to put it, hopefully we can get this passed, add an element to it that we could create another opportunity for fighters. We're going to have, like we have in the UFC, the best fighters fight the best fighters. Mm-hmm. And we think we can create like a UFC, but with boxing, in Zuffa boxing. And if we do that, I think fighters are going to make more money. Because right now, you don't know any great fighters. It's not like
literally can't
you can't name one.
Yeah.
We think we can do that, and then boxers will make more money. It will be a business for them. And it's a great sport. The one, I was more jazzed than ever about that. We put a great fight on at Allegiant Stadiums where the Raiders play. And Mark Davis was unbelievable. My partner, Egon Durbin, who is part of that, was unbelievable helping us with that. And when you put a great fight and a great card on, how many people showed up? And because it's so ingrained boxing into our world, 70,000 people, and they did not leave. It was spectacular. So if we do that now, I think it can be as big or bigger than the UFC and the WWE, and they're big. And we're going to do our best to do it because I think the audience wants it, and I think it'd be great for fighters.
What makes Dana so incredible as an entrepreneur? What is his superpower?
One, he loves it. He loves it.
Good place to start.
I mean, he really does love combat sports. Two is he's not scared. When you look at him, his poker play, his baccarat play, I don't know how he does it, because if I'm betting $5, I can't play poker. You know, he makes fun of me when we do this, right? We're celebrating the deal at ESPN. He just come to Vegas. We're going out for dinner. We're celebrating. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Well, we're going to go gamble. What? But I don't gamble.
Yeah.
I said, okay. He goes, how much do you want on your line? I go,
$2,000.
I said, yeah, I think I said 25,000. And we're in the car and we're driving. He goes, you're the biggest gambler I know, to me. I'm like, no, I'm not. He goes, you just bet on me $4.2 billion, right? You know, he took $1 million. I think he got me up to like $50,000 on the line. And I said, well, that's not a gamble, because I did my version in my head, my calculation. So he is just like a unique individual that, you know, he's not partisan. He's loyal. He has a vision. He backs your play. If you back, you know, he's just that guy, and he's not afraid to take on a challenge and do the work. I mean, he works constantly. And so in this space, he just knows the space so well, and he's relentless.
How did you learn to become not afraid?
Well, I mean, when you're dyslexic and people are making fun of you, and
just power through.
Yeah, you know, you can't be embarrassed. Like, there's nothing more embarrassing when you're 13 years old and you're in
like a remedial class or something.
Well, it wasn't remedial. It was. It doesn't matter.
Worse than that.
Yeah, and you're in school, and you know you're not stupid, and you know. I was in special ed. Well, there can't be more embarrassing than that. Like, so anything now, I don't give a shit. Like, you can't embarrass me. So, and it was actually that simple. When you're in special ed and you're 15 years old and you're in high school, and your two brothers are some of the smartest kids from that high school, and you have to walk home, and you're really good at math, you just can't read just because of how your brain's wired, and they put you in special ed, you're like, what the fuck?
So what was the first experience, though, of like clicking out of that to the opposite of like, oh shit, I could be really good at something?
Well, you know, yeah, I don't know what it was. I was like, my three boys were dyslexic, because it does get passed on. My father was dyslexic. And when my boys were dyslexic, I put them into this class, this school in the summer called Lindemood Bell. Kind of like they run a marathon on their brains to teach their left back lobe how to read. It's 4 hours a day, relentless. My mom did that to me. There was no Lindenwood Bell back then, you know. People call tiger moms. I don't know what you call a Jewish tiger mom, but it's brutal, right? I don't care what anybody else is saying. You're going to college, because I wasn't going to go to college. You're reading. You're getting good grades. Tiger mom at a degree of 10.
And then what was the first like early 20s, like post-college, like big hit of success?
Well, I knew, here's what I knew. I screwed around in Europe for a year. I came back to New York. And a friend of mine at the time was this guy by the name of Michael Mendelson. And he was working for this company. And now I used to, because I was hyperactive too, I used to wake up at 5 a.m, just watch TV. And I used to watch The Crusher and the Bruiser and the regional wrestling and TV shows, and never knew how it was made, but watched everything. I said, "What are you doing?" And he said to me, "Oh, I'm working at William Morris." Now, how the fuck am I supposed to know what William Morris is? I'm from Chicago. My father's a doctor. He's an immigrant. Like, William Morris, what the fuck's William Morris? So he tells me. And for whatever reason, bang, the light went on. And I didn't have a job. I didn't know what I was going to go to business school, back to Northwestern, and go to some night school, business school, and I was going to work at the Merck, because I used to do summer jobs at the Merck in the pits, 2 and 20, 2 and 20. I used to do all that, right? I thought I was going to do that. I was good at math. And for whatever reason, the minute he told me that, I said, that's it. That's a gig for me. Got a job working for this guy by the name of Robbie Lance. I was working for Bob Duva, who went to work for Robbie Lance. And it just started. I helped with the Tennessee Williams, Lillian Hellman, and Dashiell Hammett estates, kind of making rights deals for them and organized it properly. He was, I think at the time, 86. And he turns to me, and I was doing a really good job. And he says, "I'm not promoting anybody. You should go out to LA and you can make a lot of money." And he set up 2 interviews for me, one at CAA and one at this company called Leading Artists. And got the job in the mailroom at CAA, making 15 cents a mile.
Where'd you learn in the mailroom?
That I hated it. I learned how to actually drive around LA. And I learned, the hierarchy of the business. Business affairs people, studio heads, at the time where movie stars played, that whole...
You felt your way through.
Yeah. The movie business, how important it was, but the television business made a lot of money. And I realized I could never be in the movie business.
Why?
Because you would have to do coverage while you're in the mailroom. I'm dyslexic. Movie script, 130 pages, 120 pages. TV script, 30 pages. I'm not spending all weekend. I'm going to do... Now that little thing, because the money was in television.
That little change, 2 doors. Yeah.
Bang. And then when we started Endeavor with George Gilder's book, and I'm reading it in Life After Television, I'm like, there's going to be a lot more distribution. There's only so much content creators at the time.
Yeah.
Content was going to change and expand, but there's limited just supply and demand. Prices are going up for creators. And television, where you could make, and when I went on Bill Haber's desk, the head of television at the time. It was Mike Ovitz, Ron Meyer, Bill Haber. The huge money was coming in because of television. Not that the movie business wasn't, because you had the DVD business at the time and gross participation and everything else. But you had a hit television show like Alf. I remember sitting on the desk listening to all the calls, and there was a fight between Mike Ovitz and Bernie Brillstein on Alf and what they were paying out. That thing paid out a fortune. And then it paid out syndication 1, syndication 2, and all the different, and I was like, that baby's for me.
What was the key to being an exceptional agent, or is the key to being an exceptional
agent? Being relentless. When you're trying to get somebody staffed, and one of the greatest things Robbie Lance ever taught me, you know why people call me back, Robbie used to say in his Austrian accent? Because I represent Milos Forman, who did Amadeus, and I represent Peter Schaffer. I represent Al Pacino. They'll call you back. So having a great client meant you had access. And so you had to have taste, and you had to get great clients. And once you did that and they continued to grow, you became more and more powerful. And so that's what I did.
How did you get your first great client? Who was it?
I'm at CAA and I go to this company, Intertalent. And Mark Rosen, I'm not sure it was my first client. It might have been my second client because Greg Daniels, who created The Office and King of the Hill and Parks and Rec, he might have been my first client, but Amy Littman, who created Party of Five, also might have been. I'm too old.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had created a show. I thought the shows were great. Took over those clients. They led to other clients. And then back then, there was no YouTube. There was no Instagram. There was none of that. There was no Twitter. No, people weren't creating that way. The great shows were Saturday Night Live to The Simpsons. This whole Harvard Lampoon group. That was kind of like, and all those, a lot of them, not all, SNL guys, the writers, because I was in the writer business, came from the Lampoon, Harvard. Going to Harvard.
Go there.
So signed a bunch of people off of that, put them on SNL. SNL, they went to The Simpsons or they had the pedigree and then you moved them around.
I have like a bizarrely specific question. I've been on the receiving end of like what it's like to communicate with you and your team. It's unlike anything that I've experienced in terms of the speed and like the minute
the velocity of it.
Yeah, the velocity,
Yeah,
like you
I
get
know.
engaged and
People-
then it's just like,
people
you feel like you got plugged into the Matrix or something.
Yeah.
What is that? What's
I
the
don't
origin
know.
of that?
I have no idea.
Can you describe how it works?
I use the phone. I use it as a weapon. And I have two people working for me. And I do now a lot of stuff on AI
Yeah.
with regard to conference calls and follow up. But my system.
What is your system? I want to know what the system is.
I have no idea.
You must know.
I've grown it over years that it's kind of like it's its own animal.
What's the principle behind it? Relentless follow-up?
Yeah, relentless follow-up and communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, over communication. Like my brother Zeke is horrible at it. He's my oldest brother. I say to him, I just sent you this to call this person because you asked me and I've connected you and the next call is not that person. What are you doing? Like, I don't understand. And it drives me crazy with my kids too. Like my middle kid is very good at it, who's in the business, who's in the entertainment because he's seen me do it. But one is you got to communicate, you got to over communicate. If they're not getting back to you, you got to keep on calling them. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's the job.
How do you make people love you for it versus be annoyed by it?
I don't know if people love me for it, but I try and make it like, I know
At least they respect it.
I know you want to kill me.
Yeah.
You know, you have to
Yeah.
bring levity to it.
Yeah.
So, but it's
It works.
a force.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. How many calls do you think you do a day?
A lot. A lot. My friend Pete Berg was in the car with me once and he said, we were coming back. I don't remember. We were coming back from a golf match and he's sitting in the car and the system starts. The phone calls. And the phone calls can be from presidents of the United States to a young actor, a writer, an idea I want. And he turns to me in the middle of it and he goes, I'm too anxious right now. I can't breathe. And I'm like, what's the problem? He goes, do you realize what's going on that thing? And, yeah, I know. I'm sorry about it.
It just works.
I'm sorry if it
No, I love it. I think it's fantastic.
did I come at you pretty hard, my system?
No, it just you feel it just feels different. It feels like the thing matters.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Too few things feel like they matter.
Yeah.
And so I think you're good at
Well, I mean, if I'm going to be involved in something,
yeah.
it matters to me. So therefore, I'm going to take it to the point where I can get it done.
What have you learned from Egon?
You know, the great thing about him is he continues to want to learn. I mean, he's a guy that's made a lot of money. He takes a lot of big risks. I mean, but he's smart about them. Eminem writes all the time, songs. He writes beforehand. And then when he gets in there, he pulls his... Jay-Z, this is what Rick Rubin told me. He doesn't write any of his lyrics. They're about to start. He comes back in, tune hits. He does the rap. He's instinctual, but incredible. Egon does unbelievable analysis. And I saw it in our Take Private. I see it when he goes after a company. He's relentless when he wants something. He takes criticism. For a guy at his level, a PE guy, as good as he is, taking criticism and listening to it, and absorbing it and then adapting with it, incredible. That is, I've never seen that. Most of these guys, they're alone. Go fuck yourself. Shut up, fuck up. But he does all those. It's really incredible. And then he learns from it, adapts. I don't know anybody there's probably people as on par with him. I don't know a lot of them. I don't think there's any better. He has a point of view on industries. Like he came after me. He was a tech guy. Here's where I think the business is going, which matched up with mine, content, etc. So he has visions but then the superpower, probably one of the best financial engineers I've ever seen of all these guys. Like it's not even close.
Defined as knowing what he wants
when he looks
structure.
at a balance sheet, he sees a different language than most dudes. Like, and sees the value proposition and has been like not 30% right, like 70% right. That's fucking rare.
How do you think about your own investing that's not one of these massive major platforms? It's just like a normal investment. How do you do that in your life?
Do
you like that?
Listen, I got some big investments called TKO, and I'll bet on myself and Mari. I'm betting on myself. I'm not smart enough now. I have bonds. I'm not smart enough to know. I believe in Elon Musk.
Talk about him a little bit. I know you recently saw some of the robotic stuff. We're talking
Incredible.
about that. Tell me what your impression was.
Well, I saw the 3 or 4 generations of the hand. You know, I came up to him, I said, I want to do UFC fights with the robots.
Cool.
That's one of the things we started talking about. And I sent Dana when we just had a fight in China. I sent him to see some of the robots there to see if we could then do a fight.
Chinese versus American.
Yeah, it was really great.
Wow, everyone in the world would watch that.
All right. So I went up to see him. The 3 or 4 iterations of the hand.
The Optimus hand. What did you see?
I mean, just how much technology was from 1 to 4 or 1 to 3, I don't remember, was unbelievable. And what the hand could do beyond, I mean, it does what you and I do. Yeah. And then he showed me a couple of them that could fight and throw punches and kicks and the balance and the pushing. Unbelievable. If I'm a betting man, first of all, if I'm a betting man, I'm betting on that dude. I bet him on SpaceX, XAI, Twitter.
I almost hesitate to ask because everyone knows Elon's awesome or has been awesome and is great at what he does. But how would you describe his greatness? Like what's your interpretation of it?
I'm having Thanksgiving at my house with my brother Rahm, who's in the Obama administration, who's chief of staff. Elon's a friend. And world's falling off a cliff. Mm-hmm. So we're in California. I said, hey, can we come down to see SpaceX and Tesla? Yeah. Now, the president's bailing out car companies. Elon, because I know it, Tesla's in trouble. He's sleeping because there's cars backed up that have to be fixed. He's starting a new car company. He's sleeping there like he did at Twitter, SpaceX. And he just will not stop. Just will not stop until it's fixed. And so, we get in there. He walks with my brother, shows him SpaceX. This is at the beginning. Oh, wait.
Yeah, nothing
SpaceX, right? He's building it. And he's got these 2 things. My brother got the president to give him, but he was sleeping there on 2-hour sleep. And I think he needs that in his life to, even though he hates it at times, because I remember him calling me and he was so upset with Tesla and what should he do with it? And we would have conversations. But he wills things with sheer brains and power and guts and endurance to make them, right? And that's his superpower. Because it gives, in a weird way, even though it's, I think, emotionally brutal on him, taking all the punches and feeling that, it also does give him a huge amount of energy and emotion satisfaction.
You've got the show called Rushmore, which is about greatness. What is it about greatness that so draws your...
I don't believe in legacy. I don't believe that business people have legacies. I think Elon will have a legacy. I think Jeff Bezos will have a legacy. I think Steve Jobs has a legacy. Probably mostly
That's about it.
Presidents,
Yeah.
leaders, maybe some actors. But I do think there's characteristics of those four people that are important to know about. Like, how did they get there? And are there patterns? As we just said, we just did a Rushmore on the 90s of music with Jimmy Iovine and Rick Rubin.
Oh, fun.
Who are two guys that should be as producers on Rushmore, in my opinion. But we as humans can at least see greatness and how they do it, and then adapt it or learn something there and take that learning and keep on evolving. But I think it's always important to kind of learn from history, as it rhymes, and then take things and use them in your own life. And that's why I'm doing it.
What have you learned about with a life like the one you've led?
Yeah.
It's not lacking adventure. How to talk to your kids about it and not create a circumstance where there's a expectation.
Well, I got a daughter that works at the WWE. I got a son that's working for Rick Caruso. Hopefully, knock wood, he runs for governor. And then my son is in the business. He's a producer. And the other one works at Apple. They have had unbelievable luxury. I think if you ask people, they're pretty normal kids. Because one, they weren't over-programmed. I wasn't a helicopter father. Their mother wasn't a helicopter mother. The summers, they ran around in Rhode Island and played golf and played tennis. There wasn't and if they did stupid shit, they got punished. And they didn't run our lives. So they're pretty normal kids. And I'm not sitting there trying to always help them. I make an introduction. And then
their job.
It's their job. Even though they would tell you, yeah. My eldest son, Noah, it's one of my favorite moments. We were flying somewhere and he goes, I just want to be normal. I said, who the fuck wants to be normal? Normal sucks, right? Right? What the fuck is normal? Normal, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. So
when you ask around, everyone says, people say a lot of things mostly amazing about you. One of the things everyone says is that you're one of the consummate deal makers. What is a great deal? In your mind, assuming you agree that you've made a lot of great deals, what is a great deal? What is a great process of deal making?
When you're making a deal, and they're all different, both sides have to feel good. Your job is to make sure the other side, whether it's true or not, feels good.
Simple.
That's not easy.
How do you do that? What's the art of that?
There's so much.
Tell me, but you have to kill me.
There's so much nuance to that. Sometimes it's just a fight. You're just aggressive. Okay, we're in a battle. Certain people and certain negotiations, and everybody feels this, you're in a dance, right? And you're kind of trying to get them, and you just have to hang in there and do the dance till we get to the end of the song. And it's not a battle. I mean, I've been in screaming matches, okay, fuck you. I know you need it. I need it.
Let's yell until we
no, we're firing guns. We're shooting. I like the second one better. And that's just about charm. And that's just about kind of knowing all kind of how you have to play. Sometimes you got to get mad, and it takes time. Although, I mean, somebody was asking me, what's the art?
Yeah.
It is so complicated.
Yeah, it can't be reduced.
I don't know if it can be reduced. That's when I was constantly on the field. I was always the first one. I was always shooting. I was always in a fight, right? As I've gotten,
you're dancing more.
They're gotten bigger, there's a lot more dancing.
More dancing.
Yeah. I was a pretty ugly fighter, though.
Say more.
Constantly angry, pissed off.
Why
and you're
was that
standing in the
effective,
way of because I've already played the chess match out. If I get this, and this done, here's what happens. You're standing in the way of my chess match. And so I'd be pissed.
Seemed to work, though.
Yeah, it works. Yeah.
I like the extremes. What's the fastest money you've ever made, and what's the longest game you've ever had to play?
My greatest negotiation. Can I do it that way?
Yeah, of course.
The greatest deal I ever made was quote unquote merging with William Morris. $44 million. Paid out the CFO and Jim Wyatt. They never thought we were going to write a check for $20 million. and have the votes to fire them. Patrick Whitesell and I did that and got the deal done and the merger done, I think, in a year. And they had a horrible culture, so everybody hated each other, and we just played the chess match on their side and then took over the company, then brought in Silver Lake, and
Rest is history.
yeah. And that then led to everything.
Just to zoom in on that negotiation a little bit.
They were in trouble.
Financially?
They just were losing clients and financially in trouble, and they all hated each other, and they knew they didn't have good leadership, and we could just keep on putting out bad press on them and taking agents and taking clients over the, it took 7 years to do that. And then once we were in the room and then we just pitted board members against them and brought them on our side because we actually treated them well. We actually did. And then when the vote came before the merger, like, you guys now have to get rid of Jim White because he's a disaster, and the CFO, all their hands went up because they realized, wait a second, these guys are good guys. And we were. And so we just, even before the merger closed, they got rid of them, and then it just all happened. And then that led to Egon coming into my life. Teddy had gotten sick and passed away, Teddy Forsman, going after IMG, and it was the best deal I've ever made.
What was that flip like from agent to owner?
This is where Egon was a great teacher. He helped us think through, because we knew we were going after IMG. And then once we had IMG, I knew I knew instinctually, Patrick took over the college football business that they had, and I moved to the UK, and I took over IMG. And that's how we split the baby. And nobody was telling me I had to move to the UK. I just realized, wait a second, I just spent $2.4 billion. You better fucking get your ass to the UK and understand that business, right? And none of those people wanted to stay because they didn't want us to win. IMG didn't want us to win. They wanted somebody else to win. They wanted Chernan's group to win. And this is where I learned a lot from Egon in this negotiation. He says, I think the Chernin, they were going to pay, I think it was 1.9 billion. And he said, we're paying 2.4. I said, 2.4? Why don't we pay 2.1? He goes, we're going to make it so they can't
say no.
Can't say no, and they can't go back. Because they don't want us. And he was 100% right. Pay 2.4, we get it. And then I realized, this is my money. Like, time to move. Family stayed in Rhode Island and LA. I moved for, I think it was 4 or 5 months.
To the UK.
And all over Europe. I went to Spain for our tennis business. All over, learned all the players. That's another place where I kind of, when I got done, I was physically fried.
Yeah.
Because I was then flying back on weekends and flying. It was crazy. And then I represented writers, directors, actors. Plus I had to do that. So that was kind of like when it all happened.
Do you care about money anymore? Like, are you motivated by money?
I didn't really care about money since my first show went into syndication. When King of the Hill went into syndication.
What happened then? You just made enough that it just...
I was making 15 cents a mile. Right?
Yeah.
When you're making 15 cents a mile, and then all of a sudden, you can go look at the math. It was $6 million an episode.
Yeah.
And they did 14 seasons. It's, you're okay.
So then what if money sunsetted, what became the thing?
I want to be right. My ideas, I want to make sure that they're right.
Because that feels good?
Yeah.
When you are?
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. I'm not the stupidest Emanuel. I still have competition with those two. Emotionally.
What have you learned from Rahm?
Talk to my brother Rahm about politics. And you can talk to him about a lot of other things, but when it comes to his métier, and we're not talking about just domestic politics, we're talking about global politics, like how to handle allies in Asia to combat China, or what to do on Israel, or any subtext. There's nobody more thought. I'm gonna boast about my brother Rahm. When you look at the potential field of potential candidates for presidents, and there's some, Gretchen Whitmore, I know Josh, I know a lot of these guys, and they're all very qualified. on a global basis. And he is as relentless and as driven as I am and what I do. Was in 2 White Houses, was the whip in Congress, was a mayor of a big city, and understands everything going on in one of the biggest, most important areas in the world for us, Asia, and had galvanized, and his responsibility as ambassador galvanized that region to combat China. There's nobody more qualified. Whether that makes him the president, the future candidate, I have no idea. But my brother understands, we were talking about, it used to be when you were CEO, it was bilateral. It's just bilateral. Now it's multilateral, right? I don't think anybody looks at that board better than him in politics and in global issues. And that's a rare, and he learned from incredible people. Bill Clinton was incredible. Obama was incredible. Worked out their agenda. He is, and at details, like you can ask him about the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania issues and how they handle that. I mean, he's down, he's at an inch. I'm at an inch in my business. He's at an inch. And he understands then what that means for the congressional races, what that means for the Senate, the messaging that you have to do to kind of, and how to stay on message. I mean, and Zeke, he is just hysterical. I mean, I love him. He's a bioethicist. I think he's incredible thinking about medicine. Why he does what he does, I have no idea, and he loves it. And so I just love him.
What happens when you're no longer at the 1 inch level? When you are no longer deep in the flow?
Well, I'm not now at William Morris.
And so has that been easy?
Yeah. I just said this to one of the companies that I run, Craig Bear Jackson, and Craig Jackson wants to step back. And I said to him, you're never stepping back. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, here's what I did. Let's go private. Richard Weitz and Christian Meyer are going to take over the business. And they're going to do some really great things, and they're going to fuck shit up. And the only way they're going to learn?
By doing those 2 things.
By fucking shit up. You don't really learn that much for doing good things. Yeah. And I said, and you've got to permit the fuck ups. And the problem is, I said, I started my business 31 years ago. It's my name. Your father started your business, and now it's your name. You just won't let anybody fuck up. What's the worst thing that could happen if it fucks up? Is the business going away? No, so let them fuck up. That thought process, not a lot of people have that run companies.
What was your most formative fuck up? The thing you fucked up that taught you the most?
Well, I fuck up all. Thank God Mark Shapiro's in my life and Egon's in my life. I think the biggest fuck up, truly, because we're building the business, and you pick bad people and you do. But we had a bad meeting, Patrick and I, Whitehall, with Irv Weintraub, Jim Wyatt, and Dave Worshefter. And I went nuts because they weren't merged. I was playing the chess match out, and they didn't let me get to the end. And I actually went, talking about the negotiation, I screamed at them. We're sitting at a table like this at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I mean, I went nuts. I said, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We could buy you. We're like 2 inches big, and it's William Morris, because we were more profitable. And I said, you know nothing about business. And I go fucking nuts. And I go to, and Patrick, to his credit, he knows when I hit the DEFCON 4 or 5, you just get the fuck out of the way. Meeting ends, it's over.
Yeah.
When I talked about, this was when I was, and we're walking down Wilshire. And he goes, well, that's over. I said, no, that's not over. This is happening, right? And so, a year and a half later, 2 years later, it was back on the table. But that was a fuck up because it just pushed us way, way back. But I thought DEFCON, I was so pissed.
What do you think the future of TV and movies are?
There's going to be a lot more of them. And I actually think what I said to you, I think that you're seeing it now. Marketing companies are going to podcasters and streamers and marketing with them, or giving them brands and giving them ownership to sponsor them and market them. And sometimes they sponsor them, and sometimes they ask them to take equity, and same thing's going to happen with content. We talked about this. I think the cost is going to go down to zero or very close. And Dwayne Johnson, Mark Wahlberg, Dana White, Pat McAfee, they're all going to become their own channels. I do believe, actually. I don't know if that's in 2 years or in 7 years. And so then representation has to change its infrastructure, like we changed when we took over sports, to be able to handle that conversation with regard to licensing, marketing, all that stuff.
So like, give me advice. Like, I have a channel.
I think the podcasting business is going to become like the cable business. It's going to become like Oprah.
What does that mean?
You know, Oprah had Dr. Phil, and
Oh, I see.
she sponsored people, and then she took them out in the syndication on the station groups. You're going to find a young you, and maybe it's in medicine, or maybe it's in something that interests you. And you're going to bring them into the fold with your sponsors, your distribution and everything. You're going to take a piece of it. And maybe there's a product that comes off of it, and you're going to own a piece and he's going to own a piece. And then you're going to figure out, maybe I need my own sponsorship marketing team internally. And so you're going to become, somebody needs to
Your own
tell you,
channel.
you're Oprah.
Yeah.
You've become Oprah. And so that's what
Great.
right?
Sounds good to me.
And so that will be the first iteration of this. You never know. You might find a movie that you like or a documentary you like, and you send it out to your subs. And then there's multiple ways you can monetize that. Maybe you turn that into a book. That's going to be the business. Yeah.
What's your craziest view on the future of sports? Like, we'll finish where we started.
Prices are going way up.
Prices for everything.
Prices for teams.
Okay, talk about that, because like in the
Prices
NFL,
for
everyone's
teams.
like, there's no more rich guys to buy the teams.
Well, they'll just change. They'll go from PE firms owning 10%
To owning 50 or
35. And they'll, instead of, they can only take $1 billion of debt out, they can take $2 billion. I mean,
yeah, it'll just go up.
that shit will change. But the price of sports for the end user is going to be more. Therefore, then the price of there's going to be tiers at Netflix. With the sports, which the sports tier, you pay $15. They're going to have to make a decision. When do they go direct? It depends.
The leagues.
Yeah, it depends on when this thing caps out. Mm-hmm. We just saw a big input of money, which is betting. That will increase.
The market.
That market will increase, and the amount of money they pay will increase. Premium ticket will go up, and ticketing will go up, and
Prices are going up.
Price going up.
What do you think of gambling? What do you think of betting?
Well, I think it's good actually in the following way. For us, I'm just talking about our businesses. The more data, the more you can't cheat. And I think what's going to happen, you'll have AI companies come in and look at all the data, and you won't be able to. Nobody's going to. You're going to understand. You're going to triangulate and understand. There's something happening over here with this picture, and you're going to look at video, and it's going to be like boom. Yeah. So hard to cheat. It will be harder to cheat. Now, not that people won't try. I think it helps the engagement. Now, do I think gambling is good is a different conversation.
Do you?
I don't gamble. Do I think gambling is good? I have very, how I come at you hard? Imagine what I do to my kids on gambling, health, smoking, and drinking. I feel bad for my children. I mean, it's unrelenting. Articles, conversations.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But that's the job of being a parent.
When you see the layer of massive technology companies, you talk to all these guys all the time, I'm sure. What's your impression of like what's going on in like big tech kind of writ large?
So here's my understanding with Sam. Sam has made $1.2 trillion in obligations.
It's a big number, whatever it is.
He has 800 million subs. Let's just say he does 14 billion in revenue. He'll probably lose 5 billion. Do you understand it? I'm definitely not as smart as you or any of these investors. They must see something. And the only way it pays off, unless I'm wrong, now, George Gilder would scream at me. He goes, every technology has created more jobs. This is the only technology at this level of spend, you have to be taking jobs. Jobs have to go away. Yeah. And then the government's going to have to pick them up, and we're going to be more efficient. And okay, I don't understand the math. I'm not smart enough to understand the math. You know what I do know? How to put on a fight and put on an event. That's what I know. I just don't understand this math.
Who is the person that you represent or have represented that's the most innovative in this landscape right now? You mentioned Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He seems pretty damn innovative.
Yeah, they're all testing new. Kim Kardashian is, Mark Wahlberg is, Dwayne Johnson is. They're all kind of looking at it and figuring out how to play in it. Not all of them. Like Aaron Sorkin isn't, Larry David isn't, but they're just great creators. Marty Scorsese isn't. He's just a great creator. But there's some actors, writers, directors that are looking at it and trying to figure out where they sit in it. And I think the first thing they all have to do, they have to start playing with it. And they're all starting to play with it.
What has you most worried about the future and most excited about the future?
Aren't you? Do you have kids?
Yeah.
I'm worried for my kids.
Why?
I mean, I didn't tell you this. So I'm sitting there, I'm having my normal every 6-month meeting, lunch, dinner with Elon. And we're talking about AI. He said this to me. He goes, life cannot be disrupted. I said, okay. I have 2 ears. So then we're talking about AI, and he goes to me, Ari, do you have a dog? I said, yeah. AI is you, and you're the dog. I said, I don't like that. He goes, that's what's happening. That's going to happen. Well, you and I have kids. Like, I haven't figured out, which, as a parent, we have to think about that, where my kids sit. That makes me nervous. That makes me really, because I'm like,
You're kind of sad.
I'm over the hill.
Yeah.
4 months, I'm 65. Who gives a shit about me? Right? I have 30-year-olds. I have a 23-year-old that works at Apple. Like, and I've heard him speak about his kids. That's hard. Like, what are we telling them? What are they supposed to be doing?
What do you think the answer to that is?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Do you have a guess?
No, I don't. Do you? You talk to a lot of people. What are they saying to you?
Create things, make things.
Right, ideas.
Yeah, ideas. Use the tools.
Yeah.
Make new things.
Yeah.
So far, these things aren't going to make everything.
And I'm not sure how fast. I mean, I know everybody's saying it's coming very fast. So there's a numerator and a denominator here, right? In the United States. I think it's just us and China, really. But, I don't know if it's the numerator or the denominator, but there's this thing called energy and energy delivery that I'm not sure yet is there for it to be in the next, at full AGI capacity.
Meaning literally the power?
The power,
Yeah.
and also how we deliver the power. So
Big problem to solve.
yeah,
It'll take a while.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of time, but we have to still be thinking like, what the fuck are we telling our kids?
Yeah. What about what's most exciting?
I've started this new business called Mari, trying to make that into the next Live Nation. They're in music, or build this new company, having learned, because I'm not a PE firm, but I'm a company, but I've learned all these different skill sets.
Why do that one separately than the original company with UFC? And
Because Silver Lake just wanted the William Morris to be, he just wanted Endeavor to be an agency. Yeah. So he was, selling down the events and a bunch of other assets that we wanted to buy at TKO to pay down the debt. And Live is where I wanted to be. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just raise a bunch of money. Yeah. And the good thing is, which I felt really good about. I actually did feel really good. Like this crazy idea I had, people like saying, yeah, you're right. And so now I want to make them a lot of money, and which I've done for a lot of people. Now I'll make myself a lot more money. Not that I care, but it is
you want to be right.
No, but I want to be right. It is a benchmark, right? And these people should make a lot of money because I want them to. And yeah.
I know you love art. What has the world of art taught you?
I have a very specific area of art I collect.
Which is what?
I collect African-American artists, mainly American, but now Africa and other places, from about 1940 to now.
Why that?
I don't know. It just spoke to me. I have no idea why. So it's from Sam Gilliam, Bob Thompson, to Kara Walker, Mark Bradford, to Noah Davis, he passed away, incredible artist. Yeah, and I love it. And so I'm just like deep
Yeah.
and unrelenting.
Shocked. Shocking.
Yeah.
Long live.
Yeah.
My favorite question is my last one that I ask everybody. What is the kindest thing that anyone's ever done for you?
Oh, the kindest thing anybody's ever given me is trust. You know, clients trust me with their biggest dreams. Like crazy. When Tyler Perry comes to me and says, here's what I want to do, or Marty or Larry David, that's an incredible gift of kindness. Egon backing my play multiple times. And then I would just say to you, like, I have now in my life a great life. I never realized that before. I was just on the field. And I have a great second wife, Sarah Stodminger, who's got a great fashion business, Stod. And I think I have great brothers, but I have like 4 incredible kids. And that, I'm a lucky guy because I love them and they love me. It's as your kids get older, it's crazy to have these conversations with these things that are now adults. And they say to you and do things that are just beyond your imagination. And it is the nicest thing to see that happen in your life. From a kid, from me, that they didn't think I was supposed to go to college. And that this life has happened for me. And my parents were incredible. So I'm like, all those things collectively are the
A lot of kindness.
kindness that has happened. And there's plenty of times I was not deserving of it. I definitely was not, because I didn't realize how you're supposed to act, and you're not supposed to get off the field. And so, yeah.
I absolutely love talking to you. I love your energy.
Thank you.
I love how you approach the world. You're so distinct and interesting. Thank you
Thanks.
so much for your time.
I really appreciate you.